Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today, we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We'll give you my financial opinion here. We'll work through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and the commodities that I follow. If you guys need any help with anything commodity related and or market related, I should say, commodities are in cycle. That's at least what I think of what's coming up. And that's why I stay commodity related. I definitely don't think the overall markets or the technology sectors in favor right now. So that's kind of where I focus my efforts. Sign up for finding-value.com, the platinum membership, if you guys need any help with anything. We have a Sunday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time question and answer session for the platinum members. All right, let's dive in. Let's take a look at the DXY. It is higher today. Again, we've got our little falling wedge. It's starting to break to the upside there. We'll see how far this thing goes to the upside, but the DXY is strengthening alongside yields. The 10-year yield looks like it's trying to put in a little double bottom here or something like that for a potential move higher. We've got bond prices. So this is bond prices, not yields, falling a little bit lower today, down 1.12%. Momentum is coming up a little bit. That's why it's a green candlestick. And maybe this is just a relief rally where we continue to bounce around down here, going either sideways or potentially lower. I'm still not convinced. Everybody believes in this recession that's coming. Everyone. Makes me think that when everybody's positioned on one side, it could go the other way. Now, I know the overall markets are looking pretty bad, but yields, bond prices down, yields higher so far. And this is the 30-year yield moving sideways, looking like it wants to put in some sort of attempt to move higher for the 30-year yield. And then when you look at the TYX-TNX ratio, slightly higher, I would say that's pretty much just sideways. So precious metals is game to do whatever it wants to do. It can go down or up. The CRB index, a little bit lower today. There we are, coming back down. I know this is a very oil-heavy CRB index, and oil was down a little bit today. We've got the CRB to S&P 500 still heading higher, meaning the S&P 500 fell more than commodities. Yeah, the S&P 500 does not look too hot. I'll just say that. And we'll take a look at it here at some point. Gold heading higher, up about 1%. Is this a retest move or we start to head lower back into this general vicinity? Yet to be determined. We'll see if that happens. I do have this ascending wedge pattern that usually breaks lower and comes back to some degree. So that's what we have right now. And then silver also heading a little bit higher. We do have a reversal candlestick today. Nice hammer candlestick where you can grab the handle there and start hammering. But this is also a pretty large down day before it. We'll see which way this thing goes. We might see it come up a little bit and then roll back over, which is a possibility. Not calling for it, just saying the possibilities here. Platinum down 1.5%. Is this a breakout to the downside where we could head lower down here? It's possible, guys. I mean, we've got the overall markets are looking pretty weak. I'll show you what they look like. And it could drag us down a little bit in the short term. But I do still think that platinum is an excellent investment for a longer term hold. And the ratios are very cheap, and I think the market dynamics are good for it. XAU to gold ratio, we're back at that support level. This is the support level going across. It's that guy right there. But anyway, we have to break through this big long-term downtrend line, and that has not happened yet. It's just taken its time. GDX up 1%. We're up against that resistance level. We've pulled on back, and now we're heading up higher again. If I were to do some drawing in here, it looks like that we've popped out to the downside. SILJ up 2%. Bullish engulfing here. That looks promising. Still below this resistance line that we're below, that we need to try to break above. But it does look like we could put in a move higher here on SILJ and probably a lot of the silver mining companies. Crude oil down 2.17%. We've got the downtrend line break. We've got the retest move today with the little wick at the bottom. You know, let's see if this thing can gather some buying pressure and start heading higher for crude oil. Natural gas, most volatile of all commodities. Nice wick at the bottom there, but highly volatile here. It's just back and forth, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, going back and forth the natural gas. Either way, $6.50 is a really good price for natural gas and the natural gas producers. XOP, yeah, you know me. We're holding the ground here. I'd like to hold above here. We'll see where we go, but this is a lot of selling pressure here. We bounced, and then we're bouncing back with smaller days here. I do think that the selling pressure is subsiding some. Now we just got to see this thing kind of maybe come back one more time or two more times before we can start putting in what could be a bottom. But it may move around a little bit. It very well still could get down to this level down here if it wants to, and we have external pressures in the market pushing us lower. It's still possible. But I think some of the companies look quite good where they're at. OIH, energy service companies, we were lower, we gapped lower, came back with momentum coming to the upside there. Overall, though, I mean, I always go back to the big picture view. Yeah, we're selling off a little bit here, but it's really not that big of a deal. And even if we come back to this little area down there, that's, in my opinion, a long-term buying opportunity. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. Go to the dailies, go to the Sprott. We're just moving sideways. Down 1%, but momentum's up a little bit. We still have these large down candlesticks here before us. That usually means that there's some downward pressure still on this, but we'll see if the buyers step in and lay down some fat up candlesticks. Uranium up 0.75%. Here we are. We're still kind of grinding. It does look like to me that the sellers are slowing down. So when I look at this big selling pressure there, the size of this move. Then I look at the size of this move. And then I look at the size of this move. You can see that the sellers are getting less and less and less. So I think that we're going to turn around at some point soon. I don't want to say that's 100% sure. Nothing's 100% sure. We're playing with statistics and probabilities. If the overall markets puke, this very well could go down with it. We'll look at the overall markets here soon. Tan's got that nice little hammer candlestick. Again, big picture view is what I like taking on this one. It still looks all right to move higher. And that's just off of the patterns that it's creating. Nothing else. The fundamentals, I don't like the fundamentals in solar. They're losing money. Looking at, let me get this out of here, some delete. This is COPX, little bloody nose on a monthly candlestick basis. We dive into it. We're just kind of moving back down. Little update today. This could have a little bit more downside. Maybe we come back to the 34-ish, 33-ish level. But overall, it's doing all right. It's not the end of the world over here. Looks all right. Lithium down a little bit. This is kind of an ugly looking chart, guys. Would I go long in lithium? No, probably not. I still think this could have some more downside left in it. I don't see too much buying pressure. I mean, there's a little bit here, but it's kind of just leaking out. We might see one last kind of move lower out of this thing, scare everyone out of it, and then it just rips it at some point. REMX, right on support. Looks like it's down today, 2.16. Bigger, there it is. Looks like we're getting a little bit more selling pressure here, guys. We could bounce and come back a little bit further to the downside if it wants. And then this is the overall market. The overall market's eating it, and a lot of these are tied to that overall market. We do have a little wick at the bottom. It's not a huge one. It's not one to say that that's a big old hammer candlestick or anything, but we have the rising wedge. We have the breakout, the retest, and then usually it heads lower. And that's what we're seeing. NASDAQ, same thing. We're getting selling pressure down 1%. In the NASDAQ, we're seeing higher yields. We're seeing stronger dollar. And this is just drifting lower. So that's what we've got there for the NASDAQ and S&P 500. And this could drag other sectors down with it for a little while. EEM, just holding on, 0.3%. Again, this does look like an inverted bloody nose, which we could head lower slightly. But overall, we've broken the downtrend. It's still, I'll say, we're probably going to move sideways here and bounce around for a little while. That's what I think we'll do. XHB with those higher yields down a little bit, minus 1.55%. Still looks all right. I don't see any reversal candlesticks or anything. Looking at Moo, Moo is down just a little bit today. Momentum slightly coming on up, but really just bouncing sideways with Moo. Looking at copper, copper right at that resistance line. We're up 0.21%. There's that resistance line that we still need to break. We're underneath it. We'll see if we can break that thing. Lumber down 1.8%. It is leaking off, and we're still in this big old falling wedge. We've got support underneath us at 370, 368, something like that. We're at 386 right now. Looking at iron ore. Iron ore is, let's go to the weeklies. Looks like we're right on this support area where we could, or resistance area where we could break to the upside. So that's looking all right. Aluminum's basically flat. The Baltic Dry Index, which this is delayed by a day, is breaking to the upside for the Baltic Dry Index. That looks fantastic for a potential move higher. We've got coal just moving sideways here. Not much really there. And then our liquidity measures is what I use for Ethereum and Bitcoin. We are just moving sideways here. Sideways to lower, I should say. If we can update. There we go. So we're selling off today, but we are just kind of tracking sideways. Bitcoin's doing the same thing. We're just tracking sideways with more selling pressure happening recently. So maybe the liquidity, the people who thought liquidity is coming back into the markets, that's kind of subsiding, and more of an illiquid fears is coming into the market and they're selling off. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Yeah, I say overall, you know, some things are breaking out to the upside, like the Baltic Dry Index. Other ones are looking quite weak, like the overall markets. We've got stronger dollar. We've got stronger yields. That's usually good for crude. Usually when we have stronger dollar, stronger interest rates, crude usually does all right in those market conditions. Usually precious metals do kind of weaker in those. But we saw the opposite today. So if you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.